Hello, and thank you so much for joining us on Climate Check. I'm so excited to be in your presence once again. My name is Mary Mwikisa, your host, and today's program will give you a lot of information around afforestation as well as what the legal profession in Zambia are working on in the climate change space. This is a Climate Check. Let's take a break. Welcome back to the program. We start off on a note of afforestation. And so our staffer, Dominic Chifumbe, went out to gather more information around the benefits of community involvement in afforestation initiatives in Zambia. And so this is what he brought for us.
The establishment of a forest in an area where there wasn't any tree cover is important for ecosystem. Afforestation offers environmental benefits such as carbon sequestration, increasing rainfall, prevention of topsoil erosion, and landslide mitigation, among many. Edward Mwabandalama is a country representative and organizer of the Climate Change COP29 to be held in Azerbaijan, and he talks about the importance of a healthy forest cover.
You know, there's a big elephant in the room right now, what we're talking about climate change. So afforestation is just basically, forming our own forests. So like planting trees and all these things, and they are very, very important because we can't survive without trees. Right. Trees act like carbon sinks. So we are emitting too much of carbon dioxide, and because of trees, the carbon dioxide is used by trees, so they act like carbon sinks, which is very, very important for our survival as human beings. Per year, a lot of huge land that is being destroyed by charcoal burning and all these things. So as we see, like right now, you and me, we understand that we are experiencing load shedding. This is because Zambia depends on the hydro power station, to produce our electricity, which is 80% of power generation depends on hydro power station. Now, because we are facing droughts, so we have few water in the rivers, and this is partly being contributed by the cutting of trees. So this is deforestation that is causing all these things that is happening right now.
Right. You will be in Azerbaijan?
Azerbaijan, yes.
Absolutely. Tell us about that and how it will help fight climate change in Zambia.
So like I said, climate change is not it doesn't know boundaries. The entire world is being affected by climate change. Right. So we'll be heading to Azerbaijan, as I'm the leader for Nani Aligned Youth Movement Organization, and I am part of the people organizing for COP29 that will be taking place in Azerbaijan. And as we speak, I'll be leaving for Azerbaijan next week. And it's a good for Zambia, you and me, that we need to know that actually it's a global problem that we need to solve. And this is why we are heading to Azerbaijan to discuss issues and solutions how to deal with climate change.
Right. Obviously, planting trees is very important, but how does it worsen the situation when you're planting trees anyhow?
I think the world was created. In itself, the trees were growing anyhow, so we need to keep on doing that. Of course, we need to control the planting of trees, and if we can plant different trees, it improves the area of all these trees, and like having mono forests. Like you see, we haven't cut any tree here; they are natural. So what this happens is that it actually supports a lot of biodiversity. Birds who come, different insects that will produce that we need in the soil. So it's there's no harm in planting trees. Trees, we need to plant them anyhow as much as we can. I think anything that is taking carbon dioxide out of the environment, it's good.
And founder of Rustic Flower Pots, Clara Mwenda, says climate action requires concerted efforts.
Some of the measures that we can take to bring the environment back to normalcy is if all of us as individuals play a part in afforestation and also play a part into saving our environment, because we only have one earth. And one of the primary things that I'm constantly advocating for is growing small plants. If we all take a part as a 3 million Zambians or 3 million people in Lusaka to grow small plants, we all play a part in mitigating the effects of climate change, and we all play a part also in bringing back our earth and bringing it back to its original state. So one of the things that we've embarked on as, like I said, a local manufacturing company that has embarked on making pottery is we are using the earth. So everything that we are taking back, we are giving back. Right. And how we are playing a part is all of the material that we are using is locally sourced. And all of the material that we are using, Dominic, is also coming from the earth. So we have used limestone and stone. So limestone and actual quarry dust to mix together to make a product that you can use as a portable vessel to grow a small plant, which works and helps as a carbon sink to draw most of that carbon dioxide that we keep emitting into the atmosphere, and works and helps with the mitigation of climate change.
And Clara says all hope is not lost for a greener Zambia.
My opinion is, with the coming of a ministry that focuses on the green economy, just from the name, focuses more on trees, and we're talking about grass, and getting more people involved in climate risk interventions that mostly involve afforestation. I think it's good, and it also gives young people and just the community in general that have taken the initiative to come up with NGOs, that have taken the initiative on themselves in a community to come up with initiatives that support that cause. And if we have a ministry that focuses on that, it is a huge win. And I think it gives also the people some hope that their contribution, the small contribution they are given, is actually being welcomed. That it's never too late. And every small initiative and every small cause has its effect. Every small cause has its effect. It might be an individual like myself coming up with an initiative of making portable flower vessels for people to grow small plants in their office, in their home, and whatnot. And it can be an initiative as planting more trees in the community. Right. Say we're here in Kawata today, and if one person comes up with the initiative of saying, let me donate, or let us encourage more of the people to plant more trees than they already have, that small initiative and that small take has a great impact. That is my advice. Take the small step and let it grow, and let it have a ripple effect on another person, and let's grow and let's continue.
We only have one Earth, and we all have a responsibility to protect it. Reporting for Climate Check, I'm Dominic Davis, Chifumbe.
The Law Association of Zambia Climate Change Task Force recently launched a climate change program, and this is a very interesting initiative, especially that in the past we didn't hear much about the legal profession getting involved in climate action, but now there's good news, and this is why we invited the chairperson of the Climate Change Task Force at the Law Association of Zambia, and this is Dr. Lynette Chiti, and she is here with us in studio. Doc, thank you so much for joining us on Climate Check.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
I am more excited because, wow, for a change, the word lawyer is in the same sentence as climate change, something we never heard of. Give us background to the task force, first of all, before we talk about the program that was launched recently.
Okay. Well, the task force was formed by the Law Association of Zambia Council, and this was in the realization that lawyers have a very important and central role to play in climate change, in addressing climate change generally. And the council felt that it was necessary for lawyers to come on board. And so actually they took a leaf from the establishment of the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment, and they thought, okay, now that we have a dedicated ministry, let's as the Law Association of Zambia support that and be part of that agenda. So that was established, and of course I was appointed chair. And our mandate is basically to raise awareness amongst the Law Association of Zambia membership on climate change issues, and also to facilitate capacity building so that lawyers are equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge to address climate change. As you know, climate change is quite a technical, a scientific matter. So we need lawyers to be well equipped to be able to do their job and take up their role in this space.
Okay. And also, now that you have launched this climate change program, why did you think of launching it, and what is its main objective?
Well, as I said, it's to train, well, not to train really, just to enhance the knowledge that lawyers have on climate change. As I said, this is a very technical issue, and lawyers in the past have not been very much involved, especially in our southern region. But now, everybody knows that lawyers have a role to play. And we felt that for lawyers to engage with climate change related issues, they themselves first have to be well equipped. And so we designed this program with that very objective in mind. So we'll have, for example, experts in the field coming to give lectures, webinars, and presentations and workshops and so on, by way of making sure that our lawyers have some insights in this subject of climate change. So it's basically about capacity building. And we decided to launch it publicly because we wanted to attract the attention of the public and to try and get their interest in coming on board, working with us in terms of delivering this program, both in terms of financing as well as technical resourcing.
And now you spoke about offering training and capacity building for the lawyers around climate change issues. Once equipped, what next? What services do you hope lawyers should be able to provide to members of the public, to government, to cooperating partners around climate change?
Well, let me just start by saying that the support we'll give is at different levels. Maybe I can even start with the multilateral level, where you have engaged with the subject. I know that you've covered a number of climate change conferences, and you've seen how central lawyers are to the negotiations. Yes, they guide the governments, their governments in terms of, setting up their positions. They guide in terms of drafting the decisions that are, or the agreements that are reached. And beyond that, coming back home, lawyers are then expected to support government in implementing the agreements that they've made at that level of the multilateral engagement. Now, further than that, lawyers can support government in actually ensuring that the country benefits from the, some of the mechanisms that have been developed under the global climate change regime. For example, the cooperative mechanisms that have been set under the Paris Agreement, Article 6, where engagement there by government with other governments and even with corporates will reap, quite a lot of benefits, multiple developmental benefits, if I may say so, including employment creation, technology transfer, support to livelihoods, and so on and so forth. So this is the kind of support that lawyers can give to government, and also in interpreting and putting in action what has been agreed at that level of multilateral negotiations. May I also add that lawyers can also support government in ensuring that they develop with government the necessary legal and policy frameworks to address climate change. So there's quite a broad range of support, or a broad range of activities that lawyers can engage in this arena. It's not just at government level, even at the level of corporates.
Yes.
Lawyers have clients, corporate clients, individual clients. In this era of climate change, lawyers are now expected to step up and be able to advise in the context of this global challenge. They are, as climate change does not just raise environmental issues at the global level, but it comes down to also personal levels where human rights issues are raised. Lawyers, again, could step in there, or must step in there, to advise, to guide, and to represent people that who feel that their human rights have been infringed. So it's a very broad range of services that the lawyers can provide at international level, at national level, and even at the corporate and individual level. Okay. Now, to do this, if I may go back to that, to do this, of course, we need that capacity to be built amongst lawyers, and that's what we're doing with this program.
What kind of lawyers are you targeting? Because in my layman understanding of your profession, you have different lawyers that are operating in different spaces. What kind of lawyers are you targeting? Is it holistically, and how is it going to be done?
Yeah, well, it's holistically. It's open to all lawyers. Of course, lawyers have their own areas of specialization. Others are corporate lawyers, others are tax lawyers. But climate change is such an overarching topic. It touches on practically every aspect of the, of the economy, if you like, or every aspect of practice, in fact, law practice. So it's open to all lawyers. Those who feel they want to engage in this sphere, they can come along. We need all hands on deck. It's not a closed club. So all lawyers, government lawyers, those that are in private practice, and so on and so forth, they're all welcome to participate in this. Mm-hmm. It is for lawyers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you spoke about assisting government, especially when it comes to even negotiations. Like we see at different climate change conferences. Like a good example is the Conference of Parties, the COP platforms, where you have different professions gathering and negotiating in, pushing an agenda for Africa, ultimately for their own country. And do we now see the status quo changing, where we have more solid voices coming out of Zambia with this capacity that you're building for the lawyers? Because I don't know how many times I've had a lawyer on the delegation.
Well, I've been privileged to be one, but that's because my specialization is in climate change, environment and climate change.
Not with law.
Yes. No, environmental law and climate law and climate change issues.
But we want to see more lawyers.
Yeah, of course. And this is the whole idea. For me, this is my greatest interest, to ensure that a lot more lawyers can be equipped to engage in this field. As I said, we need all hands on deck. Mm-hmm. And like you pointed out, yes, at COPs, conferences of parties, you see our friends from the Western world coming with a whole contingent of lawyers. And I'm talking about 50 lawyers. If you're talking about America or Canada or the UK, you're just looking and thinking, oh my goodness, where are we? So, we need more lawyers. It's not just Zambia, by the way. It's, I think, the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. That's what's obtaining. So, in fact, within even SADC, our law association is taking the lead to ensure that not just lawyers in Zambia, but also in the SADC region are well equipped, so that when we are part of the delegation, when we are advising our governments, we are confident, we have the skills, and we can stand up there to any other lawyers. Yeah, so that's the general idea. And I think once we do that, well, it's not the panacea, but at least we'll be contributing to making sure that our countries, when they're out there, they're properly represented.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And how has this been received by the lawyers themselves? Is it something that they're happy to join, happy to be a part of? Are you pushing them to join? Are they willingly coming on board? And by answering that, maybe you could also just give us a roadmap. What is your first activity on the agenda beyond the launch?
All right. Yes, we have, in fact, a few months ago, maybe 2 months ago, we had our annual general meeting in Livingstone, the Law Association general meeting, and we introduced this task force as well as the capacity building program to them. There was very, very positive response. And even now, we are getting even more people now wanting to join our task force, because originally it was just a handful of us. But now there's a lot of interest that has been generated, and we see that I think we're going to succeed. Okay. So beyond the launch, obviously, it's now drawing down coming down to the details of the program. Yes. As I said, we want to do webinars, we want to do workshops, we want to do trainings, and so on. So we're drawing up a very, very detailed program, which we'll be sharing with you, if you like, and others that we think we want to ask to support us. So that's the first thing we're going to do, as talking about drilling down now into the actual work of delivering the program. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And who do you hope to come on board to make this a reality?
Well, we're looking at corporate bodies. We're looking at the international development partners of our government, the EUs, the embassies, the UNDPs of this world, and so on. And of course, corporates, because they're very big beneficiaries in this. And of course, we're looking to training institutions like the university, research institutions, which we can team up together in terms of now the technical side of it. So it's financial as well as technical support. And we're targeting those that we think, can support us. But of course, everybody, I mean, this is the whole essence of even being on this program, so that people can see that this task force exists, the program is launched now, and they can come on board and support us.
We'll take a short break, and on the other side, we will showcase the speech of the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, and he's also the outgoing Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Honorable Engineer Collins Nzovu, who actually attended the launch of the climate change program at the Law Association of Zambia. Join us on the other side.
Just a few days ago, as the Minister of Green Economy and Environment, I'm privileged to be serving in another capacity. I'm the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation now. But as the President said, these are very closely related ministries. Climate change affects water security so much. There will be no water security with a degraded environment. Rainfall depends on a healthy forest, so we shouldn't degrade them. Therefore, the legal profession in Zambia has an important role to play in addressing climate change, both at national and international levels. They can support our national efforts in many ways, including through the development of the national legal frameworks, policies, and strategies, interpreting and facilitating implementation of multilateral agreements, identification of issues for government's consideration in multilateral climate negotiations, as well as ensuring that our country benefits from mechanisms established under the international framework for climate change mitigation and adaptation.
Honorable Minister, the launch today of a capacity building program is a realization of the association's need to further and sharpen the skills of our members to be effective players to help government in green economy, in green initiatives. We love green space, we love it because we know a lot of challenges that citizens are facing now. Load shedding, droughts. In fact, I can't think of any other problem which has no aspect with environment. So if the problem that society is facing is environmental related, it means we must go to the root of this challenge. So the capacity building program, as already alluded to by the chairperson, will help us as lawyers to have the relevant skills to be tools for good, to be tools to advance climate change agenda.
We've come to the end of this week's edition of Climate Check. I'm here to say thank you for your company, and I do hope you are doing something in your community, in your institution, and in this country to make a difference and fight climate change. You can always do something. You can conserve your water. You can switch off those bulbs in a room where there's nobody. Just do something. You can plant a tree, plant grass, but do something for your environment, because without the environment, we have no life. Thank you for watching the show. I'm Mary Mwikisa. Goodbye.